Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Reboot series, and happy Friday to everyone. We have John with us today. John, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
So yeah, I'm John Morgan from Leonard Design Architects. So I'm one of the directors of the practice. We're an architectural practice. We have 5 offices. Our 2 main offices are in the UK, in Nottingham and in London. And we have smaller offices in Kuala Lumpur and Sydney. And we opened office in Berlin last October.
Really exciting. Now, in the last 4 months, I suppose with the COVID and stuff, you like in terms of architecture, how you find your type of work and what's been the main challenges that you had to go through that has affected your line of business and the business as a whole?
I guess the biggest challenge from talking to other architects has been, because it's a very interactive business where you're meeting, presenting and drawing with clients. Many architects have found that very difficult, this transition to, working online, presenting online. In some ways, we were very fortunate because half our work is in the UK and half our work is abroad anyway. Our team are actually very used to presenting on WebEx or Team or Skype for Business or Zoom. So actually, we, not by any kind of pre-arrangement, our team are actually very skilled in that kind of online presentation. A lot of our work in Korea or our work in Australia is presented online. So I think once we'd, delivered monitors and hard drives and chairs to people's homes, actually, we were amazed how quickly the team responded and got up and working, and were responding to the clients very quickly.
Which is great that your team are used to working in that way already, John. I guess, did you find, apart from the physical requirements of desks and chairs and things, did this move, did you identify any gaps that maybe you hadn't thought of before?
I think, we set up very quick. I guess the thing that the biggest challenge was going to be, we're a very collaborative business and we work in the office together, we do design reviews together, people sit round together. And therefore, the first thing we did was we put a buddy system in place where everyone in the team had a buddy that you checked in and you saw face to face on screen you at least saw one person every day. We felt that human interaction was incredibly important, for our team. So I think that was the thing that we did right from day one. We gave everyone a buddy and paired people up to have a coffee together or have lunch together or just share the frustrations of kind of sitting at a desk all the time. The other thing we implemented very, very quickly was, because lots of people are working very long hours sitting at the same desk, they're not traveling to meetings or traveling to construction sites. Every Tuesday, we have a stretch class that's run by Estelle for our team, because a lot of the feedback we got in terms of people getting bad backs, firstly, if they're sitting on kitchen chairs or bean bags or sofas, they're going to get a bad back. But even if they're sitting on a proper chair that we delivered, actually just sitting and not moving around. And so once a week, just stretching your back out was really, really good. And I have to say, I wasn't 100% convinced at the beginning, but after I'd done it, I was a total convert. It's such a great thing to do. And we've actually opened that up for clients to join and friends of the business to join as well, because on Zoom, you can open up to as many people as you want. So some of the feedback from our clients has been phenomenal.
So actually, you found additional ways to add value to your relationship with clients.
Yeah,
it's amazing how even talking about bad backs just makes you want to sit up, improve your posture.
100%. It's amazing, isn't it?
But it's so true, isn't it? That move from, an office environment and a proper desk and chair to your kitchen table, and everyone is different, right? It's changed people's how they work, and again bringing about challenges that we may not have anticipated. This sounds interesting. And I guess one of the things as well, John, you mentioned you've quite a large, obviously, international offices. I guess then you've obviously had to stop travel. Do you think that's something that will ever go back to how it was? or now you've established a different way?
I can't see it going back to the way it was. I still believe, you know, we will travel and I will be on planes in the future, but definitely nowhere near as much as I was. So, for example, we have a project at the moment that we have one in Berlin and one in Poland, in Warsaw. And there are a number of weeks I would, you know, Sunday evening, go down to Heathrow, stay Heathrow, travel really early Monday morning, fly to Berlin, have a day in Berlin, fly from Berlin to Warsaw on Monday night, have meetings all day Tuesday in Poland, and then, you know, fly back late on Tuesday into get back home into Nottingham at midnight on the Tuesday, and have, you know, kind of done 2 meetings or 2 big workshops. Whereas, you know, now in lockdown, you know, I can, you know, on Zoom, I can be on a call in Berlin in the morning, the meeting, so I can like click off and go to, you know, Poland. You know, we've had days where, you know, we've had meetings all over the world within, you know, within a day, you know, from, you know, Berlin to Warsaw to Copenhagen to Oslo, you know, to London, you know, and there's no travel in it at all. And I can still just walk downstairs and have my dinner with my wife and sons in the evening. So, you know, I genuinely don't believe it will ever totally stop, but I believe the expectation of clients for you to go to sites all the time and do it face to face all the time will definitely decrease.
Yeah,
I think that's really a good take, because within your industry, I think the main challenges has always been about the collaboration between teams, but also the location of the business had to be local, because you needed to go and see clients in different countries. Like Australia, we know has been particularly challenging because of the time difference. It's always been one of those things. So you think technology has always been there, I suppose is improved over the last few years, but it was like more of a people's mindset, do you think, or why has it changed?
I think the biggest shock for me, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this to you, Steph, was that all of the IT technology has worked. You know, Teams and Zoom hasn't lagged, has worked. You know, whether it is, you know, my parents or a planning committee in a small town centre, you know, or, you know, friends or for business, the technology is just seems to seamlessly have worked, which has been amazing. If this was all lagging all the time, the problems all the time, you know, people would have, I think, needed to get back to the office far, you know, sooner, as well. I think, you know, we have invested heavily in, you know, 2 screens for people, high quality webcams, actually having other Ethernet cables going through our houses, so we're not on the Wi-Fi, you know, which Steph's team promote all the time, you know, to make sure you've got, you know, strong signal. And I think that is incredibly important, you know, for people, you know, to be able to have it. But I think that the fact that, you know, there is it works across a number of countries, you know, that Teams has become this, you know, universal communication tool now that so many people weren't using, you know, previously, as well. I think it's been transformational, definitely, for many businesses.
Yeah, and I guess not only as a communication platform, but like obviously as a platform which to, you know, share information, you know, designs, files. You know, you don't need to be in a physical location. You can share that information instantly and seamlessly, which you know, we wouldn't have had several years ago. But it's funny, it came up, we had another conversation, like, and you refer to the fact as well that the technology has all just worked. And I guess it's heightened our awareness of, you know, how important connectivity is as well, isn't it? You know, again, particularly as we look at what the workplace of the future looks like and the mix between office and home. So I guess that has to have been important for you, that in order for it to seamlessly work, actually the connectivity requirements of your team is essential, right?
Definitely, yeah, really important. And it's things through to whether if people are going to use their mobile phones to give them stands so they're kind of, you know, set properly, and, you know, just they're giving a professional, you know, front, you know, to the business as well is incredibly important.
Yeah.
So it's quite, I suppose technology now is open a different way. So you know, what's the plan for LDA, and, you know, is it open further job further afield, so the world is your oyster, like they say? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess before we were never kind of nervous about going into new territories, in terms of, you know, going and kind of doing international projects. But it is definitely felt that there is nowhere that is inaccessible, for us. And I think that's, you know, very exciting. But I think also there is definitely, on one side, there's a speed and an efficiency to it. On the other side, it can feel incredibly challenging. The idea of going from meeting a client, convince them they should work with you, them deciding there's a piece of work to give you, you give them a fee, doing the work, finishing the work, send the invoice and get the money in the bank. For some reason online, that feels a very long process or a very challenging process, rather than if you meet someone face to face and you do the deal that they're going to commission you on the project and you do an agreement on the fees. There's something about that lack of personal interaction that makes that, as a director, feel like a very challenging process. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's really interesting for us.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. It's actually come up a couple of times already, that, you know, how do you build trust and relationships?
Yeah.
You know, that 5-minute walk from the door to the meeting room or afterwards, you know, how do you replicate that online? And I guess,
yeah, the personal and I know you, John, like us, I mean, me and all are the same. We're like huggy people, and
yeah.
How do we now? I think that's a negative that this situation has brought in, is how we gonna just adapt to this new way.
Totally.
And not being able to, you know, interact at that level with prospects or clients or you know, people that you would do business with. And I think that's something that's come up before, and I don't think there is a solution for this. I think a good balance, like you said, will probably be better, so you don't have to travel, you can spend more time with your family. But I think that human interaction still needs to be there. We still need to go for a drink or a coffee or have that personal touch. But what other challenges have you sort of it's been challenging for you?
I think it making sure that we have an amazing team, and we had a really strong culture, but just making sure you're checking in with everyone all the time. Just when you see people in the office, you could see if someone's okay or not okay. And you know, we've got members of our team who are keeping their eye on everyone, checking everyone's okay. You know, we have mental health first aiders in our offices, and we're transferring those skills, you know, now making sure we're checking in with people as well to kind of check they're okay. I think the biggest worries me, it was someone said it in a meeting the other week, you know, if you've been in your job for quite a long time and you know the team, you know the people, you know, there's lots of discussion about people employing new people and they've never physically met them. And in some ways that's okay if someone's done the job somewhere else. But the idea of taking on, say, 5 graduates that we would normally take on at this time of year, and then just being delivered, you know, a computer and a monitor and a webcam, and normally those graduates we would sit next to people who can ask a question every 3 minutes, and what's this, and they will be overhearing or seeing things happening and learning. It's those people of that age that I kind of worry for the most, that how are you ever going to learn your skill and learn your trade when you're in a room on your own and there's no one to learn from? So I think, you know, that's something that's, you know, I haven't worked it out yet in terms of, you know, what we'll do for that. And my hope is, you know, we will get back to the office and therefore they will be able to do that. But I think for that generation, that's the biggest challenge. You know, if you were to employ someone who's worked for another business and done the role somewhere else, and yes, you can get to know people, but it's those people who've got to do the learning, I think. And we've been doing a lot of training with our team as well, so that everyone, you know, because the danger is you're not upskilling, you know, your career could kind of stagnate. So we've created this brand called Worth Watching, which is anything someone sees that's kind of worth watching online, or a training session, things like that. And we kind of just brand it and launch it and kind of say, this is worth watching at 2:00 on Friday that's going on. And some of our team have been training people in Revit and Enscape and parametric modeling, so that our team, when we get back to the office, are more skilled and feel like they're learning new skills as well.
Amazing. So you have sort of find a lot of ways of keeping people busy. I think it's quite again common. I think a lot of people I've said that the problem is with junior people, how do you train them? How would you bring them up? If it's an experienced person, you get on with your work, you know what you're doing. But I think that's another of the challenges that a lot of businesses have found. But in terms of your clients, so what sort of feedback, or what have you had to adapt, change? I
guess when COVID first happened, the directors, we all looked at our workload and took a view in terms of what we thought was going to stop and keep going, and looked at what our income was and was going to become. And we took, I guess, I don't know, a realistic or a pessimistic view at that time. We really thought that all construction sites would stop. We thought we know where the construction, so we assumed all that income would go to zero. But actually, those construction sites haven't stopped. So actually, that was then a positive for us in terms of the expectation of the income. But it was very difficult because you're kind of assessing and kind of looking at it. There were definitely some the very big developers we work for who have got zero capex spend. They're not spending any money, which I fully understand. They've got huge portfolios, shareholders in there. But there's definitely a kind of a band of developers who sit below that are more entrepreneurial, who are looking to turn this into an opportunity. It's much easier to get a pre-application meeting with a local authority at the moment, or a planning meeting at the moment, and therefore there are people who are definitely kind of embracing that, and we have a huge number of schemes now that are going in for pre-application, going in for planning, and coming forward. As well, which is very interesting. And also, from our perspective, the government are pumping millions of pounds into local authorities, into saving the high street, into town centres, into city centres, and therefore that's been a huge opportunity for us to work with those local authorities. Our background is working in-house for a developer before before the practice was set up in the way it is now. And therefore, we did a big project in Sheffield, which was a master plan, which has been very successful, that the council led and promoted. And therefore, there are lots of local authorities who want to learn about that project and how to, create deliverable projects. And whether that is in Broxtowe, or it's in Rushcliffe, or in Nottingham, or in Sheffield, or in Middlesbrough, there are lots and lots of towns and cities who the government are giving huge support to, but the government wants to know they're spending it in the right way, and they're spending it in a way that will then be useful and profitable for the high street and for their town centre.
All right. Amazing.
So it's a big opportunity.
Yeah.
For you in the business.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, we move to where the work is, or where the people need our support and help as well. And if the big developers are kind of battening down hatches and not commissioning work, we will naturally go to where the work is commissioned. We were also very lucky that, Germany went into lockdown in advance of the UK. So our German work had kind of started to slow earlier. And then when they came out of lockdown, our work started to kind of come back. And we were actually surprised how quickly that work came back. As well, in terms of what we'd expected. And I think our clients were surprised how quickly they were becoming active again.
Yeah, that's really positive. I think is nice to know that. Yeah, I think
it is.
To be the EU. I think one country just goes lockdown, and there's always, and I think the adaptation is what is going to make a business that will survive or will improve. I think because the way you reacted, and you seems like you know straight away what to look for and how to change your propositions and what to look for. It has been something that obviously is paid off, and then now as things go back into it, you can see a different uptake in projects, and you can just you have your people trained, stretched, and ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I have to say the team have just responded amazingly, to the workload as well, and responded quickly, and I think that's been amazing for us. There's a certain amount you can do in terms of bringing the work in, but then the team are there to actually deliver that work and deliver the kind of quality product working remotely. And we've just been amazed by the quality of the product that's still being delivered by our team for our clients.
Exciting.
Fantastic. So I guess, John, and it's a question we throw in at the end, is if you could go back in time 4 months, is there anything that you wish you knew then, or you might have done differently in hindsight?
Wow.
We love this question.
Wow.
We do love this
so,
question.
okay, so my gut feel is no. You know, I think, you know, myself, Ian, Dade, and Hin, 4 directors, we have been, you know, talking every single day. You know, in the beginning we talked all weekend to kind of, you know, talk about what was going on and, you know, where we saw things moving to. And oh gosh, I don't think, you know, no, I think we responded quickly, so I don't think there's anything in terms of we wish we'd have kind of responded more quickly. I think the team responded really well. I mean, the team may give you, I mean, it's interesting because we've just completed a questionnaire for our whole team to talk to them about returning to work and return to the office, to understand what people's concerns and worries are. And so we can kind of put a plan in place that people then feel comfortable with. And we ask people about what they've enjoyed about kind of lockdown, and, you know, other things that they have preferred, that they want us to make sure we keep doing sort of in the future. And it was amazing that some people said that actually they felt more connected as a team. I mean, we have had so many initiatives in terms of weekly bake-offs and photography competitions and yoga and pub quizzes and beer o'clock, and we, you know, and so we've done absolutely lots of that. And we've got a WhatsApp group where people are sharing what's going on. You know, one of our team got married yesterday, and everyone spent the whole morning saying congratulations, you know, and that's been, you know, been amazing. And so I think our team have been giving us feedback all the time in kind of real time, and we've adapted all the way through. So I don't think there's anything we now look back and we say, you know, we wish we'd done differently. But I've literally just got the data sent through this afternoon in terms of the questionnaire from the whole team. So maybe I can answer the question in a week's time when I've kind of read it and they tell me the stuff that we should have done better on it.
No, that's fantastic. I think that sometimes you can look back and just think about it too much, but the best way sometimes is look forward, not look back. And then, you know, sometimes it sounds like that's what you've done. But all right, that's time up. I know we can talk forever, but
lovely to see you both.
Thank you very much, Orla, and
lovely.
We'll talk to you soon.
Talk soon. Thanks, John.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. See you soon. Thanks. Bye.